put your hand over your eyes. I open my eyes to see the spiritual truth today. And now over your ears, I open my ears to hear the spiritual truth today. Now over your heart, and just extend your arms. I open my heart to receive the spiritual truth today. The spiritual truth is one that I work with a lot in my life, and that is I am always working with the very best consciousness I have at any moment. You are always working with the very best consciousness you have at any given moment. If you could have done better in that parenting moment when you were screaming at your kids, you would have done it. If you would have kept that promise to yourself that you weren't going to put any more dresses on that credit card, you would have. See, if you would have allowed that comment that was hurled at you at work last week that just really tore into you, if you could have allowed that to just pass you right by, you would have. We're always working with the very best consciousness we have at any given moment. So in that moment, or millions more like it during the week, when we get engaged in negative self-evaluation after the fact, we want to remind ourselves we were working with the very best consciousness we had at that moment. Now, we want to make sure this doesn't give us license to make messes out of our lives. This isn't, a permission for us to make other people feel bad, or for make other people feel small, or for us to try and make ourselves better by presenting somebody else as small. That's not what I'm talking about here. It's not permission. What we're talking about is to make ourselves and everybody else the gods and goddesses that we are on this planet. And when we begin to up-level our consciousness, we can see that the work of making ourselves and other people the gods and goddesses we are on this planet is very, very doable. Now, I want to make sure we want to take care with this idea that we are God. We want to make sure that we don't get this twisted. When the psalmist said, "Ye are gods," he was not giving us permission to control other people's lives. When the psalmist said, "Ye are gods," he wasn't saying you have privilege now to be raging and punishing. Those are old ideas of God. What we mean when we say ye are gods, we're saying you are a chip off the old block. You are a representation of the one. And by that we mean you have the authority and the power to create as God created you in our lives. You're not all of God. You can't even wrap your head around all of God. But God is all of us. And when we understand at a deep enough level that we are indeed a representation of the one, when we get that at a deep enough level, we walk taller. We're not trying to mince around with, low self-esteem. Oh, I hope nobody notices I'm in the room. See, when we understand that we are the presence, when we understand that abundance is our street name, we get it. We don't have to scheme anybody else's money. We don't have to make loans. We don't have to put stuff on credit cards that we know we'll never pay back. Ask friends for loans we know we can never pay back. We can do that when we understand who it is that we are the Creator itself. When we know that, we walk taller in love because we know that's what God is. God is love. So we stop worrying about what religion other people are, or what country other people come from, or who they go to bed with at night. We stop worrying about all that because we know who we are. We are love, and our job is to love. Well, one of the things that this teaching does is to kind of bring us up short sometime. So I'm going to talk about a teaching right now that I don't love. I don't love this teaching. The teaching is this: The condition of my life is the way it is because I am the way I am. The condition of my life is the way it is because I am the way I am. When we're operating at a higher vibration, and that's kind of like new thought, new language, it's kind of like trendy new thought talk. Oh, I'm at a higher vibration now. All that means really is this. You are closer to the spirit that is within you. You're actually listening to the tap, tap, tap. And it's in you. See, when we understand that we are in alignment with the spiritual principles of joy, we walk in joy. When we understand that we're in the spiritual principle of harmony, people in our office mates can be just going crazy with drama. But we're walking in harmony, and we get that. We don't have to add to it. Our job, when we walk in spiritual principle, our job is a reflection. So we're proud of that statement. My life is the way it is because I am the way I am. We like that because we're in spiritual principle and we know that which we put out is going to come back to us. But it's an inside job. If your car is going down the wrong place, it's going down a direction you didn't intend to go, you don't get out and turn the tires so they can go a different way. You stay in the car and you work with the steering wheel. That's what we need to do. We need to stay in our car and work with the steering wheel. Your brother-in-law is a tire. Stop grabbing at him. Your ex is a tire. Stop grabbing at your ex. Your banker is a tire. Stop grabbing at it. Begin to know that the work we have to do to change the direction that we're going is always on the inside. We teach a lot in this church. Steer only in the direction you are sure you want to go. And it's good information. It's good information. I'm going to amend it this week. I'm going to amend it so that it says, sometimes you want to look at why it is you're going in the wrong direction. We teach a lot here. Stop concentrating on what's not working and only concentrate on what's working. Sometimes we have to concentrate, or not concentrate. We don't want to spend our life there. But you need to take a look at what's not working so that you know what can work better, what you want to make better. So we're going to join Jewish people all over the world a couple of weeks ago who did just that. We're late, but we're here, okay? Because they understand their life is the way it is because they are the way they are. See, the good news is the only person that we can ever change is ourselves. And how you are right at this moment, what's going on in your life right at this moment doesn't have to be the way it is a nanosecond from now, or a week from now, or a month from now. You have that power to change it. What we need to do in order to change our life is we need to change our thinking, change our life. Change our thinking, change our life. Now, here's what I also want to say. I want to talk about it as change your reaction, change your life. Because I don't know about you, but I am a reactor. And somebody says something to me, and I've got to get into it immediately and only make it worse. I only make it worse. Change your reaction, change your life. We want to begin to see that everybody and everything is here in our life by our invitation. Ooh, I hate that too. Everybody and everything is here only by our invitation. Our banker is here by our invitation. Our boss is here by our invitation. The wrong people in the wrong political party here by our invitation. So to begin to work with this, I'm going to borrow from our Jewish ancestors, and because they say this time of year is when they begin to look at who it is they've invited into their life and why they invited them into their life. this period is called the High Holy Days. And it starts with the High Holy Day of Rosh Hashanah, and 10 days later it concludes with the High Holy Day of Yom Kippur. Rosh Hashanah is the New Year. It's the beginning of the new year. So they always sound what is called a shofar. It's a horn. It's a beautiful piece of music. We're gonna play this piece of music for you, and I want you to just allow it to go in. I want you just to allow it to feel what it could feel like to start anew by sounding this music. Okay. For Jews all over the world, in synagogues, in temples, in homes, they play this music and it says to them, okay, it's time to begin again. It's time for us to take the next 10 days, see where we are, and see what it is that we need to do for a new year. Now, in Jewish teaching, it says that God, on Rosh Hashanah, God begins to judge. God judges our behavior. Okay? We don't believe in a God in the sky with a notebook writing down our behaviors, but we do believe that there is a presence within us that is helping us to evaluate what is successful and what is not successful. If you want to call it good and bad, you can, but in truth, it's what is successful and what is not successful. And so what they do is they stop and take a 10-day inventory. They begin to work with an inventory of their life. Now, many of you are old enough to know that before computers, when a store would take an inventory, it would close its doors. And all of the staff would stay inside and they would count the socks and the underwear and whatever that was in there. They would count all that. We don't do that now because it's instant counting with computers. But in essence, that's what we're asking ourselves to do as we celebrate the High Holy Days. What they were doing is stepping back from the clatter, from the interruption, closing the door, closing the store, and saying, I need to take some time for myself to begin to look at what my life is like. Let me think for a moment. What is my highest self saying? What is the tap, tap, tap around my body? Am I getting enough sleep? Am I eating nutritionally? What am I doing with my body? Am I going to that gym that I paid for? What is it that I'm doing? Maybe we're asking our higher self about our mind. What is the condition of my mind? Let me take an inventory of how I use my mind. Do I read a little bit? Or am I watching television all day long? What about my money? Do I even know how much money I have? Do I know what I'm spending my money on? Am I still doing that thing where I'm buying things and hiding it from my spouse? Let me take an inventory here. What about my spiritual community? How am I treating my spiritual community? Am I finding a time to volunteer and help others in my spiritual community? Am I going to classes so that I can reflect this spiritual community outside? How am I helping my spiritual? Am I coming to church regularly? Because, it is not just me, and it's not just this fabulous band and guest artists that we have. It's every one of us in this seats that bring up the vibration, that bring up the presence of God that's in this room. What about my greater community? How am I taking inventory of how we're working with the greater community? What kind of citizen am I? Am I informed? Am I participating? This church, the compassionate ministries of this church, that we serve dinner to the people on the river a couple times a month, thanks to your donations and our hard-working compassionate ministries team. Well, this Saturday, we are going to invite anybody who wants to join me in going down to the river and cleaning it up. Because here's what's happening. On October 29th, folks who are camping on the river will be moved. Now, in the past, that has been done in a really non-compassionate way. They just brought bulldozers in and they bulldozed everything. Nobody was given any notice. It was just a big mess. This time, there are a group of people, this church is among one of them, that are working in a coalition to do a project called From Bridge to Housing. And what we're trying to do is to find housing and shelters for homeless people in West Sacramento. It's 2014 and it's never happened before. Now, for the last 4.5 years, these folks have been living down on the river without trash and without water. So that place is a mess. And so what the homeless folks who are involved in this project have said, we're going to clean up ours. Can we get some help from people in the community? So if you are free next Saturday morning from 8, it's going from 8 to 6. You don't have to stay all day. Just stay a part of the day. Come down there and help us pick up stuff. That would be great. There are flyers both here and in Brooks Hall that tell you where to go and what to bring and all of that. It helps us. It helps us to not only talk these principles and not only use them for ourselves, but to put them out into the community that we live in. Now, here's one of the things I love about the Jewish way. It says, once God judges you, you have 10 days to repent. You have 10 days to repent. You have 10 days to look and say, where did I trespass against myself and other people? And to begin and show sorrow for it. Now, repent is one of those words that gets you and I all just wrinkled up. Oh, we don't care for that. Oh, what does she mean, repent? Oh, that's very churchy. Oh, my gosh. That just doesn't make me feel good at all. I don't care about that. Okay, repent only means to take responsibility for and to feel sorrow. And any time that you and I do something that is not in alignment with the spirit that is within us, eventually we will feel sorrow. So it gives us an opportunity to go in there and see what's in there. Somebody once said to me when I was talking about this, they said, well, you know what? It's their journey. If they feel sorrow over something I did, that's their spiritual journey. That's correct. It is. It is their spiritual journey. And saying you're sorry is never about somebody else. It's always about bringing you back into the alignment that you want to. Other people say, well, I don't really want to focus on sorrow. I don't care to do that. I like to keep a positive thought in my head. Okay, well, that's good. We all need to keep a positive thought in our head. But we don't want to bury our head in the sand, because if you feel sorrow, no amount of perky, positive statements is going to make that go away. You're still going to feel the sorrow. But here's what you're going to do. You're going to push it down, and you're going to pour a little bourbon over it, or smoke a little weed over it, or eat a dozen cupcakes over it, or find the next man or woman who's not got somebody on their arm. You're going to find that. You're going to do whatever it takes to not feel the sorrow, but sorrow is not going to go away. You might as well just go ahead and feel it. Here's the second thing I love about this teaching, the Jewish teaching on this holiday. It is said, look, don't pray to God about your sorrow. Don't ask for forgiveness from God until you are ready to go and face the person that you've trespassed against, to look them dead in the eye. The teaching said, God's not interested. Now, we don't believe in a God in the sky that's not interested, but what we do believe is that there is a universal law. And for us to go, it's so much easier to pray, oh God, I'm sorry I gossiped. And to go to that person and say, I'm sorry, I gossiped about you. But in order for us to truly begin to feel the benefit of these high holy days, the teaching says, don't just pray to God until after. Pray to God for sure, but don't even bother doing it until after you go to that person. Powerful, powerful teachings. The condition of my life is how it is because I am the way I am. The condition of my life is the way it is because I am the way I am. Let's take this message into prayer, knowing that there's only one power, and it's the power of the universal love that's everywhere. It's in everything. We simply have to be open for it. We want to look for it. Where is love today? We'll find it. It's there. I give thanks to the Great One for always saying yes. I release His word into the law, and together we say, and so it is.